Hey there, fellow traveler. I'm just going to drop in with some straight up cartomancy and get a message of the moment. Whatever wants to come through for the collective at this time, whatever message we need to receive, asking Spirit to come on through and deliver the goods. What do we need to know at this time? What is the energy surrounding the collective at this time? What is the word, Spirit? What's coming on through? Bottom of the deck energy. Ooh, something is just moving so slow. There's some kind of frustration with how slow something's going. Could be in relation to something that was promised being delivered. In some cases, it could be somebody waiting for deliverance. They're waiting for some kind of helping hand to get them out of a jam. Whatever this situation is, there's a lot of frustration around how slow movement is. It feels like a bit of stagnation. There's something that is absolutely coming into alignment here. I feel like you're going to get some kind of word about a success where you were expecting some kind of disappointment. Maybe you recently set your sights on a particular objective. Some of you may have filled out an application for a space, for a home, for a rental. Could even be like a space for a business space or something like this. And yeah, interesting. 5 of Spades in the shadow. I think you're getting confirmation that it's a go, but there might be some detail in relation to the agreement you have to sign off on that you're not so sure if you want to sign on that dotted line. This may be what's holding things up. There's some kind of negotiation here. It feels like it's a negotiation on some kind of business level, like contractual level here. It could have to do with renting a space. I'm picking that up pretty strongly. I do feel like the application is approved. This could be earning a space too, like in some kind of program you've been trying to get into. It does feel in some way it connects to your stability. And so it's either in relation to a living situation or it's somehow connected to business. And there's something about having to apply for a spot or having to apply for a space, waiting to get back word. I think that you may have had quite a bit of frustration around this, especially because if you've been looking for a place, you know, oftentimes there's the exorbitant fees for the credit check that these landlords require. You may feel like, hey, you know, I'm getting kind of tapped out with this. And so you've been a little bit hesitant. I think you've dealt with some kind of shady experiences before in regard to this, where it comes to apartment hunting or looking for a space. I think you've been burned a bit. You may feel like you've gotten a little scammed or ripped off. Maybe you found out something too about something you applied for where you had to pay some kind of fee that maybe it was already secured, the spot was already secured for somebody else, or the apartment had already been rented out and yet somebody still took your application and took those fees in order to, you know, benefit from them to your detriment. Okay, but I do feel like where you're expecting a negative experience, so I feel like almost this is either horror stories you've heard from other people and it sort of put your hackles up, or this could be just your previous experiences of feeling like you've really gotten burned, where you've put out a lot of your resources just to even get a shot to apply for a spot only to be turned down and have disappointments here. But it feels like you're not going to be disappointed this time, but there may be a stipulation here on the contractual agreement where you feel like somebody's being a little demanding or controlling that might have you kind of hold off and question, do I really want this space? Do I want this spot? Okay, let me see what this is about. Why is there the hesitation? What's going on with the stipulation here? This could even be like, you know, renting a room from somebody you know too, and there's something about the agreement that feels like a little bit off. It's giving you pause. It's weird because it's kind of a mixed bag energy. It's like, yeah, it's a go, right? But at what cost? Okay, because somebody's definitely like flexing here in this situation. They know they kind of got you in a tight spot, and you have to acquiesce to their demands if you want to come into alignment with this. And you just feel like, I don't know. So suddenly where you felt like there was something that seemed like it was on board, now you're starting to question, is this really in alignment with what I want? Is this going to make me feel fulfilled? Do I want this? It's not even about, do I need this, you know? I mean, maybe you would have jumped on an opportunity in the past because you used to operate more out of a sense of need, which is kind of a scarcity consciousness if you think about it. And now you're kind of going, I don't know, do I really need this? I think I want to focus more on what I want, what I desire, what's going to give me some sense of like, yeah, this feels right, you know? So I feel like you're kind of holding off here. You're not certain. In some cases, this could be, if it's a living arrangement, it could be an offer from an ex of yours. And you're just a little sus about, is it possible for us really to pull this off? Yeah, I don't know. There's something here that's communicated. It's interesting to me because at first it feels like, yeah, this kind of feels like a go. And then there's something that's halting you here and you're reviewing some kind of communication you're getting. And I feel like it's some kind of agreement that you're being asked to sign off on. And you're quite savvy yourself, okay? I feel like you also have an eye for business, an eye for details. You're your own power player in your own right. And there's something about this where you're not so sure if you're liking the way this communication is lined up here. And if you really feel like it's wise for you to sign off on it, okay? It could be a business deal too. I picked this up. There's some kind of merger that's being presented here, or there's some kind of space that's being secured here, and you're not liking the terms of agreement. You may even feel that though it's like a confirmation, yes, this is a go, you're not so sure you want to continue to go forward in this direction. I mean, I see the offers on the table. That's what this is about, okay? There's an offer on the table. Do you want to go for it or not? I think that you're trying to buy some time here. I do, where at first you were frustrated with delays. To me, it feels like you're dragging your feet a little bit. You want to create just a little bit of space to really consider this, okay? Because currently there's something coming in here, some kind of communication about something that you were ready to sign on for, okay? You applied for this. You wanted to secure this spot. It's like going for a rental or earning a spot in a program where maybe it's really competitive to get into this program. This could even be like some kind of mentorship program or some kind of yeah, I mean, it has that vibe, like an apprenticeship kind of program where, you know, you're able to gain traction, experience, maybe even get yourself onto a track of success, earn a little bit of money on the side. But there's something about what's being outlined here that doesn't feel quite right. And if it's a living situation rental, there's something about the landlord that you're dealing with here. And it could even be somebody you're familiar with. Like maybe this is renting from a friend or renting from a former lover or renting from somebody that could be a family member too. And there's something here where it's almost like that familiarity is being used in the negative as a way to kind of flex and have power in the situation, or feel like they can kind of have a little control over you, in a sense, is how it's coming through. You're not liking the message you're receiving here. All right. This is interesting. Okay, what is advised? What is advised for the collective who's trying to figure out if they should sign on for something? I think you're trying to buy time. I think if you can buy some time, it's wise. It's not good to make any set in stone decisions or things that are really going to impact your security when you're moving through Mercury retrograde. I mean, I do feel like there is something good that's coming in here for you. That's at the foundation of matters. There's something here about maybe you're not sure if this is it. It's interesting, you know. It's almost giving me the vibe of like, let me hedge my bets a little bit. Let me see if I can kind of take back my power in this situation where I feel like all of a sudden in this agreement, somebody's pulled a fast one, and it's put me in a position where I'm almost like pressured to act fast before the deal's taken off the table. And you're calling the bluff, I feel, because you feel like I can get better, or something better can come in for me. And it's kind of wild, because I feel like you're not normally one who would necessarily move like that. Maybe in the past you would have gone for the sure thing, but you're feeling more like kind of pushing the envelope a little bit in this situation, because you're not thinking from a place of desperation. I feel like something's shifted here in just the way that you navigate the challenges of life, and even with things that you really desire, you know. There's something here where you're taking a perspective about, yeah, but at what cost? Like, what does it cost me in order to come into alignment with this? And some things cost too much. And I'm not talking about financially, although there could be somebody that's, you know, taking advantage of the situation financially, certainly. That may be a point of discrepancy. But I feel like it's beyond that. I feel like it's at what cost to you, to your own independence, what feels right for you, okay? Yeah, there's something here about where you can delay. You might want to delay a little bit. You might want to delay a little bit. If even, this is weird, okay? You are navigating something that's a little bit of tricky negotiation here for whoever this is speaking to. And absolutely, somebody knows that they kind of hold the power in this dynamic, and they are using that to their advantage. But there is some sense here of almost like familiarity, or maybe trying to give you the impression that, you know, they're really doing you a favor because of that familiarity. And yet, you know that this isn't true. There's something they're stipulating here that it actually puts you at a real disadvantage at this time. I feel like it disempowers you in some way. And, you know, it's like you get this news, right? It's coming in with the 7 of clubs in reverse. And then we have the 8 of clubs here, upright, in the light, okay? This energy's in the shadow. So I feel like it's almost like, hold up, man. Wait. Can you put off the decision for a week? Just for a week. Because I feel like there's something coming your way. It's just a little delayed. That's a much better fit for you. And it's something that will bring balance in for you. It's almost like, you know, I can't stand it. It often works out like this, but when you've navigated certain challenges in life and you've learned certain lessons, sometimes you will get tested if you really remember what tripped you up in the past or not. And so you'll be presented an opportunity when you are in a tight spot that almost makes you feel like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to, you know, grab this while I can. But that's sort of operating from that old mindset of a sense of lack, or being in a desperate position where you kind of just have to make do with whatever's available. And I feel like that's what's being tested here. And there's some kind of independence you've gained here. There's some kind of independence, sense of strength, empowerment, sense of self here that you've gained. And a lot of times people ask this, well, if your thoughts are things and if it was just all about having, a different mindset, then everybody would have everything work out for them and everything would materialize in your life with ease. It wouldn't be difficult to manifest anything. But that's really kind of dumbing down manifestation. It's not really understanding how much work is really entailed in being able to call in what you want for yourself. There's so much that needs to be looked at on a subconscious level that runs a deeper narrative that really can impact what you're able to call into your life and where you experience blocks. And there's a reason why people say, well, I've done this and I've done that and I've made all these changes and I keep getting the same thing. But there's a way that those patterns really become grooved, and they often become grooved in situations like this, where you've been burned before, you've dealt with bad deals, you've had people flex on you before, they were in a more powerful position, they used that to their advantage to have control over you. And you learned what you learned through that. Through that, you did gain some sense of personal empowerment and this independent energy. And here comes this opportunity. Again, did you really learn it? Because that, you got to remember that with a retrograde cycle, it's often about review. There's something in whatever's going down here that it is raising your hackles because it reminds you of times that you've been burned before. So it's important that you don't just toss that aside. And I get the frustration here because there is some kind of indication that you've been in a perpetual cycle for a while. And it may have something to do with this, like trying to bring business affairs into alignment, or maybe trying to establish a really solid home base, or really get your business established and really start to build upon that. There's been something that's been difficult with laying down a foundation. And it's also been a bit competitive too. If you've been trying to break into a field and forge a new way forward for yourself, you may be in a really competitive field where, you don't just get an automatic in. It doesn't work like that. Like a lot of times you have to start from the ground up and you got to earn your chops and you have to apprentice and, you have to do an internship and you get educational hours on the job and maybe you receive like a little stipend to, help you eat at least or something, but it can be really lean. And I feel like here's what you've been waiting for, finally an opportunity where it does feel like a level up from what you've been dealing with. And yet there's something in this agreement here that cannot be compromised. And that's what you're being tested on. And it looks like this is a timely message because it feels like it'll probably come through for you fairly soon here. And there's something about buy yourself a week. Buy yourself a week if you can, because if you buy yourself a week, the 3 of clubs is going to bring much better news for you. It's going to bring something that's actually better in alignment with you. It is coming in with the synchronicity of 7-11. That can be an angel number. It also could be a date of significance. Okay, so maybe there's something that kind of ties back to July 11th here. That was right before the Mercury Cazimi. So there could have been something that happened recent. You could have recently received some kind of communication that really turned you off, or this could have been when you put in this application or you went for this opportunity. Okay, I feel like just hold off here just a moment, okay, because there's something better lining up. In fact, there may be something that you kind of gave up on. Maybe you didn't get the call back, or you felt like you got a no because you didn't hear any news. And so in the meantime, something else is coming in that could really divert you from what you really want here. It could be that what you're wanting is just delayed. It's just delayed. And that's why there's this little piece here. Just buy a little time, because I feel like what you really want is about to come in. So there's something about don't settle for less. And yet that can feel a little risky here. I do feel that, because there is something about you really having to be daring, but it's good judgment, okay? Coming in at 20 on the clock, like there's clarity around this, okay? You need this little window of space for clarity. Okay, why is the clarity needed? Okay, something coming out in the light there. I'd like to see that. Yeah, I feel like something better is being highlighted for you here. You're going to avoid a major loss if you just hold off on going forward with this, with the Seven of Spades. Because I feel like whatever this is that's coming in here, where it doesn't feel like a fair deal, if you sign on for this, what you really want is off the table. And when this comes in, you're going to feel like you cheated yourself out of what you really desired. That's what I feel. So it's kind of like, hold up here. Don't be so quick to just sign on to the first thing that comes at you here. Right? And that's kind of an interesting message, but I'm going to bring it in. If there is familiarity here, you know, familiarity can breed contempt. And there is something here too where whatever stipulation is being added here, this individual may purposely be putting that in place because they do want to kind of slow you down a little bit, okay? So do pay attention to this, okay? There's a little interesting energy. Yeah, they do want to slow you down. I'm not wrong about that. They do want to slow you down. There's a blind spot in this situation, and I feel like almost a need to lean in deeper about this little highlight in this communication that's making you wonder, should I really sign on for this? Should I really be in alignment with this? Because there is something here that once you're in it, like you're in it. And then you're going to feel like you got tricked out of what you really wanted, because very shortly thereafter, what you really want is going to come into view and you'll be kicking yourself. It's a test. So this choice you make is really critical here. It does really require you to, hedge your bets. Hedge your bets. What happens? What happens if the collective hedges their bets here? It's just landed on that kind of like theft energy, theft of opportunity is how it comes through. Yeah, see, there's something your heart really wants here. If you sign on to this too fast, though currently you don't feel like you have access to what you really want here, that's why you might be more willing to compromise for a particular deal that's being put on the table. You're really going to feel the challenge of that, you know, if you sign on for this, because what has been separating you from what you truly desire is about to come in for you. There is something here that is about to be balanced out for you. Look, okay, this is your enemy at this time. Your enemy is moving forward with something that you feel pressurized to move forward with, because you're told that if you don't take it right then and there, despite the discrepancies in what the original terms were and how things are changing, if you allow your hand to be forced here, you will regret it, okay? Hold out, hold out. This is in your benefit to just hold something for just a moment here at bay, because you got your radar up here. That's all I know. Whatever this is, whoever this message is for, you got your hackles up. You're like, no, something's not right. It's like, I feel like your bullshit detector is firing off here, and there's something you see very clearly. And so don't put on the blinders. Don't ignore it and try to tell yourself another story about what you're seeing here, because you'll regret it when what you really want comes in. Right? Delay tactics are a power move in a Mercury retrograde. Yeah. And see, I feel like whatever this is, it's going to cost you, you know, some kind of security if you invest in this. And I feel like where you sense that somebody's making like a power move to gain some kind of control by putting you in the confines of this contractual agreement or whatever this is, I mean, it's really going to cost you. It's going to cost you. Any final details about this? Any final details about this? Do one more round here. There might also be something that was supposed to be repaired or addressed within a space too, that was promised as well, or some kind of, it feels like some kind of accommodating factor, like, well, this could work if, you know, this was taken care of, or if I had access to this, like, there's like some kind of stipulation here in question. And I feel like something was promised that, yes, this will come with this, or this will be provided, or this is part of the deal. And that's what you're hearing, that's not included in the contract as well. If it's not, if the stipulation isn't in the contract, do not sign. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, because nobody's going to care in a court of law if you come in with some nonsense about, well, they said. That doesn't matter. What do you got on paper? That's all that matters when it comes to legalities, okay? So, yeah, be aware of what you're signing on for. This is what you can't see. You can't see that something is about to come into alignment for you. So you got to play your cards smart at this time. Don't settle for less than you desire. You're being tested here. Don't sell yourself short. Don't compromise a non-negotiable for you just because your hand is feeling forced by someone who wants to gain control. Control that will actually really inhibit you from moving forward in the way you truly desire here. You could be signing a lot more away than you realize, okay? What is this theory of 11? What is this coming into alignment for the collective here? What you really want. What you really want is what is coming into alignment for you. What you really want. Whoever this person is, whatever this is, again, there's familiarity here. But this is somebody who's using that familiarity to work you to their advantage. And you know it. So stay true to what you feel and trust what your heart's telling you. And in this situation, it's more about really looking at what you want and what you desire, rather than what you feel like, well, this is what I need right now. Because if you look at it from that perspective, it is sort of feeding that scarcity consciousness where you're like, well, this will do for now. And that's what prevents you from creating the kind of future you really want for yourself. So sometimes you have to go through some discomfort also while you really not only change the thoughts and the way you look at things and change your focus, but while you have that new focus, that new perspective challenged, and it will be challenged because you're going to deal with people, especially people that are familiar to you, that are going to continue to deal with you as they always have, you know, from their current vantage point, and not really understanding that you've been working on this stuff, that you are wanting more for yourself, that you're showing up in your life in a new way. So let it be who you're becoming that informs the choices you make here, and not any kind of obligation out of a sense of familiarity to work you and manipulate you into signing on to something that you know just isn't right for you. And I feel like it's almost coming through as a bit of this like maverick energy, where as soon as you really fully like make that distinction and you don't buckle, and maybe it's pushed a little bit, okay? I feel it's not too long after that you get news that inspires you to look in another direction. Okay, cut the deck. Let's see what we got here. You sign on to this, you're going to be mired in conflict, and its conflict is going to be with you for some time, because it is an arrangement that once you're in it, it's going to be very difficult to get out of it. It's like, this is sort of what's on the table here. You know, it's a little trickster kind of energy. One of these things that's being put on the table, which is this contractual agreement, okay, whatever this is, this spot that you did apply for, you know, there's something here that you're like, yeah, this could work for me, and you've been willing to make certain concessions in order to negotiate something here, but there's something going back on what was agreed upon initially here that should have your hackles up. And there's something about this situation that once you make this decision, like, it's fixed in place for a while. It will put you in a place of conflict for a while, because it's not easy to dissolve this or get out of this. Look it, man. You had the King of Spades, Queen of Spades coming up, both in the light here. This is about decisiveness, clarity, being honest with yourself, recognize what you're seeing. Don't talk yourself out of what is plain to see by telling yourself, but I know this person and they would never do me like that. And I mean, why would they put me in that spot? Maybe I'm being too sensitive. No. No. You see something very clearly. You've got to make a head over heart decision here, okay? Because I'm telling you, what's hidden is this is going to bring you a lot of loss, okay? A lot of loss. That's what you don't see. So this is really coming through for somebody to say, hold up, trust what you feel in this situation. You trust what you feel in this situation, it won't lead you astray. And you'll be able to enter into a different kind of arrangement on the other side of just pumping the brakes a little bit. 33 on the clock, okay? You'll be able to come into alignment with a situation that's much more in alignment with what you're looking for, what you really want and desire. And it will give you a true sense of fulfillment. It won't feel like you're compromising, or you have to sell yourself short in any way, or you have to put up with something that makes you feel really limited and controlled in some way. And it will be the right alignment for you. And that I do feel you will sign on for. Like, there is something here that you're like, yes, you and we're in agreement here. I can move forward with this, okay? It's very clean too. But this, that's murky. And yes, there's somebody here that's taking advantage of your situation, and you do need to be aware of that. So this opportunity, it may be a yes. It's yours for the taking if you want it, but do be aware it's not all it's cracked up to be. And I think you know that. So there shouldn't really be a dilemma about it. It's just really coming through as a test. Are you able to trust your discernment in this situation despite somebody trying to kind of work you? And I think I kind of want to just get one round here of the Kipper deck, because the Kipper deck really gives some very clear details too, just to kind of like cap off the overall message. So I'm going to ask Spirit, if you could kind of condense this in like a final statement to the collective for them to keep in their consciousness about what's what in this situation, what would that final statement be? Great fortune is up ahead for you if you play your cards right, and if you act with the strength of discernment that you've gained through overcoming the challenges of the past, and don't repeat a cycle where you ignore your own instincts when you know something feels off and you just kind of like turn a blind eye to it because you feel like, well, this person wouldn't possibly do me dirty like that. There's something here where your great fortune is dependent on you making the right judgment call here, but I do feel like there's a real fortunate turn of events on the other side of you really getting the lesson. That's what the test is coming through. Okay. Yeah, so great fortune is sort of what is in alignment for you. So why would you settle for, you know, that'll do when great fortune is in alignment for you? Yeah, there's something here about bringing a close to a situation that leads to stagnancy and in some way doesn't really meet you where you're at. It doesn't give you a sense of striking that successful agreement that you're looking for. And I know that you're hashing something out with an official person here, like somebody that, you know, they do have a place of importance in your life, and this person is the one who gets to make the judgment calls about what's being offered here. And there's something about this person, you know, they do have power here, but you have to really consider, can I partner with this person? Is this the right person for me to partner with here? Are they going to use their position of power in a way that's going to work to my disadvantage? Okay. There could be something about the 22nd. The 22nd, that would be about like roughly a week from now. There could be news from an official person coming in on the 22nd that like will change your perspective about the current offer on the table. Okay. It has you thinking of things differently, crossing energy. Yeah, and this is Lovers in reverse, coming in with the tricky energy. So again, like, there's something about a choice needs to be made about who you're partnering with here. Basis of the matter, wealthy man. And then we got an official person here. And I feel it's two different people. So there may be somebody who's in a position where, you know, they may be able to give you some kind of advantage, but though you may get some kind of security, at what cost, okay? What is this tricky element that's involved in this partnership and making this agreement? What's the tricky element? And the Lovers is coming out in reverse. So this is not a romantic interest, okay? This is a totally different kind of situation. But there could be that sense of familiarity there, right? I don't know. Could be a little dicey doing business, you know, with your ex, okay? That's something to consider here. Yeah, occupation, okay? This could be related to a job opportunity. Yeah, I feel like if you take this opportunity as it's laid out, where, you know, investing in yourself and holding out for what you really want, and where the terms of agreement feel fair to you, leads you to great fortune, this is a downturn in your wealth. It's like a run of bad luck. It's out of alignment. So it feels like something that you need to be really mindful of here, okay? And the advice is to hold out. It seems for just a week, you know, maybe around the 22nd, there's some kind of official word coming through. It could be a job offer. It could be getting into a program. It could be, you know, some kind of stability coming through, you know, finally gaining a space for your business, or a space to live as well. Maybe something that's closer to your employment, or in some way supports your employment, supports your work in some way. I'm almost feeling like this official person, like maybe you haven't gotten this news yet. You applied for something and you're going to hear from this person. Maybe there was already like some kind of discussion and you're waiting to get the revised contract with that stipulation or something like this. Could be something in relation to work for sure. You might be really occupied with this too, like wondering, is this going to move forward? Should I move on this? Should I take this? It might be something that you're like really looking at the details of too. Because when I look at this like seamstress energy that's on this occupation card, you're really looking at the details of, you know, this agreement and what it means to bring your energies together. Like, what does that look like? And usually seamstresses, you know, they look at all the little details. The details are everything. And so I feel like you're really occupied with the details of a particular agreement and whether or not you merge with this here. Privileged lady. It was concealed though. It's like you don't understand that there's some ways that you can compromise yourself, just kind of making do with the bare minimum of what's offered when you're meant to have a much better position. You know, much better position. Got the journey here. Thoughts. Yeah, it's interesting. See, now we got a new character here. Look, we got a main male coming through with thoughts about you. Maybe even enticing you to take an offer at a distance or something, you know. Maybe saying, you know, that they can provide an opportunity for you, you know. Go ahead, hop on that plane, hop on the train. I already have everything, you know, set up for you, secured for you. This main male, you know, but the thoughts that they have here are something to give pause, you know, because it's kind of coming in with tower energy, and behind that was thief. So see, there's hesitation required here. So this brings clarity. This brings clarity to me. It's sort of like right now, you want to hold off on going forward with something that you have questions about, where your hackles are up, and you should be concerned with the details. Don't ignore things like, oh, don't worry about that. You know, we have our agreement. No. That's important. That detail needs to be put into the contract, because I feel like you're really just getting the word to hold up. The alignment's going to come in with some official word here, but maybe not until the 22nd. I'm kind of sticking with that, okay? It feels like it's something that comes in more like the week in the lead up to the Aquarius full moon, all right? That's when the real deal is coming in, the official person. So in the current dynamic that you're dealing with, this could be somebody who's offering to transform your situation in some way, and you have familiarity with this male, whoever they are. And you could be, you know, the feminine in this situation. Okay? Or it could be reversed. It could be a privileged lady is offering, you know, this main male an opportunity. You're thinking about it. Should I take this opportunity? Will it work out? This could even be somebody you used to be lovers with, you know? And you're like, I don't know. I've had a lot of, you know, road work behind me in relation to this relationship. I'm not sure if this is the right thing to sign on for. And so there's like a lot of preoccupation with the details here. Hold off until that week leading up to that full moon in Aquarius. I feel like something is really highlighted that helps you avoid something that could steal your time, steal your resources, end up really costing you big, especially with your security, your stability financially. This is really key here. Any further details about the official person, please? To cap this off. Any further details about the official person to cap this off? It's flipped up. Message. So, again, 1 week's time. 7, Chariot, moving forward. Hold up here. Wait to get word for, oh wow. 7 and 22, 29, the full moon. The official person, message, a way forward, brings alignment. Something you can build on with another. So it's sort of like, hold up here, you know, because if you sign that contract, oh, you're going to want to get out of it. You're going to want to get out of it. There's promise of all this growth. There's promise of, you know, a clean slate, a way forward, and there's going to be all this growth for you. You have no idea how much toil and labor is involved. You need all the pieces of the puzzle here, okay? So yeah, hold up, wait a minute. If you can bide your time, I feel like on the 22nd, you get some kind of word from an official person that presents a new option, a new way to move something forward that you desire here. And I think by the full moon, you're getting a message of confirmation that it is a yes, that something is in your favor. Let me see. Is this the correct interpretation of what you're trying to send through here, Spirit? Could you give some kind of confirmation, please? To make it clear. Sudden wealth in reverse. Courthouse. Yeah. There's a need to delay moving forward because I feel like if you move forward with whatever this is, you're going to lose big. It could lead to some kind of like really binding contractual agreement that's difficult to get out of. And you're going to have better clarity as you edge on up to that full moon in Aquarius. Yep, and if you make the right judgment call and you trust your intuition, look at that. Great fortune. Great fortune. What's this? Look, it's something you can't see. The wild card element, even though I turned over the deck to see what's on the split. Oh, whoa, look at how that's coming through. Great fortune, poverty. It's all how you choose to move. Because there's a thief on the scene here, okay? There is a thief on the scene here. So the choice you make, there's a choice to make here. The choice you make determines how the wheel of fortune turns for you. You need to bide some time. That's all I know. Because one route, signing on for a deal, you lose big, man. You lose big. And the other route, it actually brings something into alignment for you that secures great fortune. Okay, so, you know, nothing major, just, you know, the entire wheel of karma hanging in the balance there. But to me, it really looks like, you know, you already know what's what. So here's your trust fall. You make the right call. Something's going to turn out a lot better than you ever anticipated. Godspeed.